Democrats are outraged by Republicans. Paul James here. This is your second stimulus update. Now, I've got some news to cover on the $1,200 stimulus check, and we will get into that. But if you're new here, please consider subscribing. And if you've been here before, thank you for joining me here in another video. All right, so let's get into things. We are a week away from Senate returning back to work. And like I said, Democrats, they are furious with Republicans, and I'm going to explain to you why coming up. So Chuck Schumer, Democratic Senate Minority Leader, and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on the Republican side are already bumping heads at what's going on. So details have been leaked about the new Republican skinny bill. I've covered this in some of my previous videos. You should go check them out if you haven't already. But basically, the long and the short of it is Schumer is not happy. He's basically accusing Republicans of playing partisan games. Schumer called the bill emaciated. He thinks this bill needs to gain some serious weight. There's a lot going on with this entire thing, but basically, Democrats want a bill that's closer to $3.2 trillion. Republicans want it somewhere around $1 trillion. So here's what's going on. Republicans fear that if they raise the budget of the bill of where it's currently at, what they're proposing, which is around $1 trillion, that they fear for the debt of the country. And Democrats, they want a bill that is 3 times more than Republicans think the country can afford. Republicans, they're not willing to meet in the middle. We talked about Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi wanted to meet somewhere in the middle, putting the bill around $2 trillion. But Republicans, they kind of rebutted with this new skinny bill that we've been talking a lot about here on the channel. Maybe this changes when they return from recess. Maybe they'll come to an agreement and meet somewhere in the middle. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. As of right now, though, that is basically where we're at with things. They are still just butting heads. Democrats want a bill that's up here. Republicans want a bill that's up here. Democrats are like, oh, we'll come down to here. But Republicans are like, no, we can't do that because we fear for the debt of the country. Rather than focus on the negatives with this entire video, let's talk about some of the positives, because there are things that both sides are in agreement on, which is good. Whenever we're talking about politics and government, if we can get them to agree on something, that's good. But we have agreement on the PPP loans, which is basically for small business owners. Both sides are in agreement that they want to help small business owners, that they need help during this time. And then unemployment. So both sides, they are in agreement of unemployment. The amount, though, is where things start to get tricky with the unemployment, because Republicans want a lesser amount. Democrats want this $600 a week amount to continue. I think last I heard it was they wanted to run it until January 2021. And the Democrats' reasoning for this was, well, hey, until we see unemployment drop, then we should be keeping this unemployment going. The Republicans' reason, however, is, well, if you keep giving people the unemployment, are they going to have motivation to go back to work, because some people are making more on unemployment than they were making at their job? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this unemployment at $600 a week something that you would like to see come back? Would it actually deter people from going back to work? Or is this something that we need to keep going because of the pandemic? Comment below, let me know. The other big disagreement, though, is Democrats, they want extra funding for state and local governments. You may be thinking, well, why don't Republicans want that as well? Well, Republicans, they are in disagreement with the way that certain states are spending the money. So I guess their thinking is, we're not going to dish out more money to these states if we don't agree with how they are spending it. So that's kind of the argument going on there, and why there hasn't been an agreement there. But what about stimulus checks? Will we actually see another round of maybe like $1,200 stimulus checks like we did last time? And the answer is both sides, they do want some sort of direct payment to go out to Americans in form of a stimulus. Because there's no agreement going on, that is why the Republicans came up with this skinny bill. Now, this new skinny bill, unfortunately, does not include any sort of stimulus payment, like I know many of you were looking forward to. Now, if Republicans do go forward and pass this skinny bill, again, it's not going to include that stimulus payment, but it would cover other things. And it would be a temporary bill, a temporary solution until both sides could come to an agreement on the exact details of like a stimulus check. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, there's been another proposed bill by Senator Harris and Senator Sanders for $2,000 a month stimulus payment, which would also be retroactive, meaning it would include back pay. If you'd like to check that video out, I will leave a link to it over here, and you can check that out and find out the details on that and what's going on with it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing and turn post notifications on. I will see you in another video. Paul James here, signing off.